Hello, everybody. How are you? My name is Sarah Turino. I'm a holistic personal trainer and an RYT 500-hour yoga instructor. And I am here today to share a little bit of information that I think is really important during this time of the coronavirus that may be helpful and simple steps that to help you take care of yourself during this time.
Hi, I'm Anna, or Azuki Anna for some. I work with macrobiotics. I work with food and help teach people how to make the best possible meal, the best possible options of cooking, and well, training themselves to a healthier diet. So I've been working as a macrobiotic coach for about 5 years now, and yeah, I'm doing based in Portugal. However, through internet, we're all around the world.
Love it. Hey, so for those people who don't know, can you give me like a primer on what macrobiotics is?
Okay, cool. So it's a pretty simple thing actually. It's understanding how nature works, but we've kind of nature works and how we work with nature, because it's something that's so natural, however, has been pretty much lost over time. So by observing nature, by understanding the effects of expansion and contraction, so that's yin and yang, of the seasons, of how animals hibernate and how we should slow down, all these things, how this really is so important in our day-to-day life, and how we need to respect them and to keep them to keep practice, I guess. So that's more or less what macrobiotics is. It's a knowledge from the Orient, so it's from it's got about 2,000-3,000 years of background to it, so it's pretty well tested. But there you go, we've kind of lost touch with the basics of how to connect ourselves to what's on the outside so the inside can be healthy and happy and vibrant. And now it's the ideal time to talk about this, now more than ever.
Yeah. So Anna and I, we brainstormed before we started this conversation about, because we could probably tell you 20 things that you could do, and we decided let's keep it really simple and keep it to 3 things. And the first thing is thinking about your system and how important it is to eat colorful food. I'm going to turn this over to Anna because she is the expert in this. But Anna, can you tell me why it's important now to eat foods that are in season and colorful right now?
Okay, brilliant. So if we're at the beginning of spring on the northern hemisphere, we're in the beginning of spring, the southern hemisphere beginning of autumn, and food, the crops that are natural to this season are different from the ones in the winter, from ones in the autumn, from ones in the summer. And if we are living in spring season, we should eat what spring gives us, because imagine we're in the height of the summer and we decided to eat what or the reverse, if we're in the middle of winter and we decided to eat the tropical fruit, the strawberries, the mangoes, what have you, the body has a much harder time to digest, to absorb, and to release what it doesn't need. So if we're in season, our body has a much easier time to absorb, to understand what it's eating. So imagine you're in the winter and you're eating summer, you're going, oh my God, what is going on? Am I eating summer? Are we in the summer or in the winter time? And generally that gives you, bad cold, bad headaches, what have you. But when you're aligned with your season, it's much easier for your body to digest, and because it recognizes what season it's in. Eating, for instance, whole foods and colorful foods, varying, having a good variety of food on your plate is so important. And from whole grains to beans to vegetables. So the weather is warming up here. So you'll begin to introduce, fresh salads rather than have everything cooked in the oven, for instance. And good hydration, not only tea, not only, the warm beverages, but also water. That's so important to hydrate your body, your cells, your blood, your whole, organism. And then the question of, eating sprouts, eating some roots, eating some leafy vegetables, having a good combination between these. So without going nuts and like, oh my God, did I eat carrots today? Did I eat a turnip? No, having the knowledge of, okay, I'm going to eat a bit of this at lunchtime, maybe a little bit of this at dinner time, and how that really works and affects your body. You include seeds, you include seaweed if you can, good quality, good whole grains, a good breakfast, you know, stuff that's rather than processed food. So processed food we kind of push away because we've overdone it. We know it's no good, and it's easier than you think to go back to the simple, traditional, what our ancestors used to eat. They, you know, we think they went out and hunted a massive lion or whatever it was, but that's not true. They really eat loads of vegetables and lots of what the land gave them. So that's basically, we've touched on a lot of things and maybe go deeper in the future, but that's basically just touching on the basic topics. And yeah, we were going to talk about other things like sleep and rest. And tell me, what do you think about that, Sarah? Tell me.
Well, so a lot of my training is based in using yoga tools and principles specifically for stress, anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder. And I think it's really an interesting time now that we're living in, that it's so stressful right now. And not only are we getting the stress of this whole virus and what does it mean, and there's this underlying discomfort with not knowing how this is going to play out, but then you're asking people to be alone in their little pods, right, without very much human interaction. And then you add a layer of, I'm going to be on my device a lot, which tends to, you know, amp up your stress in your brain. And so I think it's really an interesting thing. So then I'm just going to take it one step further. Then what it results in often is comfort eating, comfort drinking, because it alleviates in your mind, oh, well, it feels good to have some sugar, it feels good to have some alcohol, because it calms down the anxious feelings that you're feeling. And then what's ironic is that disrupts your system and results in often more anxious feelings. So I think that is an interesting cycle to play with. So I think it's really important to start to recognize that calm inviting calm is really an important tool, and often one that isn't used or even known that it's easy. I think people, as soon as you start to say calm, they are like, oh, I've got to go and sit on my meditation pillow for 30 minutes. Not necessary. If that is not what calls to you, there are some simple, really simple ways for you to start to invite calm into your neurological system. One of those ways is with diaphragmatic breath. Super easy to do. Diaphragmatic breath is often not a skill, because often, specifically in the West, we have been taught to suck in our guts, to suck in our bellies. Yeah. And so what happens is that the brain and the muscle get a little disconnected from each other, and it's held. Your belly is held. And so you have to almost consciously release the muscles so that you can allow your diaphragm to do exactly what it's designed for, which is this sweet undulation of breath in the body. Do you want to try it? Should we try it?
Let's go for it. Okay.
Okay, cool. So all you have to do is tilt your pelvis a little forward. Notice that when you tilt your pelvis a little forward, you rock forward a little bit. Great. Now tilt your forward back, and look, you're rocking back on your pelvis. And see if you can find that spot that's right on top of your pelvis as you're sitting, right on top of your sit bones, which are designed for sitting. And just notice the bottoms of your feet on the earth. Notice the bottoms of your hands on your thighs. Take a full breath and sigh it out. Notice if you can consciously soften the muscles of your abdomen. Notice if you inhale and exhale, if your belly expands and contracts. Take a full deep breath in, hold it at the top. And sigh it out. One more time, take a full deep breath in, hold it at the top. And sigh it out. And let's do one more. Take a full deep breath in. And sigh it out. And then come back to me. That's all you have to do. It doesn't have to be that, it doesn't have to be that complicated. I call it the 3 pearls. You could weave it in, you could do a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You could notice, when you're feeling kind of like that you might want to do 3 breaths. Simple as that. Calms your neurological system, helps bring you to ease, helps bring your parasympathetic nervous system on board.
It's extraordinary, the power of such a simple thing. And we really don't pay attention to the simple things because we are so technological, we have to download the app, we have to enroll, we have a coach, we have the and we forget to connect. And that's one of the things that I think is so extraordinary with this work that you're doing, as with the simple act of eating, because it's just so, and the breath work, it's one of the most intimate acts that we have with ourselves. The food that we eat transforms into our blood, our organs, our bones, our tendons, our muscles, everything. And without being too dramatic, if we do ingest sugar, if we go for the bread, the alcohol, the biscuits, we transform the quality of our own body, and it's harder to think, it's harder to breathe well. It's a vicious cycle. So acknowledging something so important as the necessity to breathe, as you just suggested, as well as acknowledging that maybe I really want to eat a biscuit or I really want to have a chocolate bar, and thinking, okay, why do I need this? Do I really just need, a hug? Or do I need to calm down and recognize that I need maybe make some time for myself without, without acting, without thinking, without feeling. And as I said, connecting to the outside. So we are in ourselves a beautiful, tremendous planet. We are an earth. We have a whole lot of systems in ourselves that's so minute and so extraordinary and designed to make us the best possible human beings we are. But we live in an outer planet. So the way that we eat and what we eat connects us to this outer planet. And if we do this without difficulty, without obstacles, so eating seasonal, thinking about what we're eating, chewing well, resting, being calm, breathing well, the connection and understanding this extraordinary paradigm where we're living will be much easier. We'll be more able to connect to this outside world of what's happening within our little pod that we're living in. And it's tough. It's a whole new mindset. Don't you agree, Sarah?
I do agree. I mean, I think what comes to mind when you were speaking was the words "as within, so without." I mean, I think that's. I think that this is an extraordinary time for us to connect with our highest selves and to connect with each other. Yeah. So the third thing that we talked about, that we were like, we had to put it on one list. We were like, all right, we got to put sleep on the list. We got to put sleep on the list. I think it's really an interesting thing when I talk to people about sleep, Anna. I don't know, but I get a lot of, well, it's the only time I get to be with my partner. These are people who are partnered. It's the only time I get to be with my partner. It's the only time I get to be without my kids, especially now that we're all cooped up with each other. I think it's an interesting thing when you start to ask people to start to consider how important sleep is.
And people
People
don't
push back.
recognize. Yeah. People don't reckon. Have you ever heard of sleep divorce?
No.
It's an extraordinary perspective, and I found that through a few people earlier. I know about a year ago, and it's some partners don't sleep well together.
Oh yeah.
So somebody that's like all over the place. So that's speaking about quality of sleep, and this is something that I'm a bit worried about bringing up with some of the counseling that I do. But now and again, you really have to look. If you don't sleep well together, if somebody wants a warm duvet and you just want to sleep, without any covers, you have to find a way to mediate this. And this sometimes means sleeping in different beds or in different rooms. And some people find that really helpful. Some people don't agree, but in the sense that sleep is that important. It's that important. If we don't lie down, our body is not able to regenerate itself. It's not able to. It's like when you overeat. When you eat every 2 hours, some people think that's a really good thing, but your organs need to rest. Your digestive system, if it doesn't rest, it will perform much worse. It will cultivate problems. Things will arise. So sleep is another thing that's so important. Don't you agree?
Oh my gosh, it does so much for your system. And guess what it does? Huge component of your immunity. Sleep is the thing that is massively tied to gut health and hugely tied to your gut health, which your gut houses 70% of your cells that deal with immunity. 70% reside in your enteric nervous system. As such, you want to take care of your gut health. And part of that is sleep. Besides balancing hormones, I mean, there's so much that sleep requires. So let's talk sleep hygiene. I'm going to stick in the comments here, and it may or may not be helpful. You check it out if you want. There are things that you can do to set yourself up for sleep. First of all, I would cut off caffeine after noon.
I agree.
Yeah, keep a cool room. Yeah, what else do you got?
No, caffeine, if it's possible, rule it out, because forever. Guys, you need
I'm not
to.
gonna do that.
I know that's really strict, but I'm like, I guess it's old school. I don't know what you want to call it, because caffeine has this extra, it's like a slap. It's gonna wake you up, and it's like burning the candle at both ends. You know that term? I think it's correct in America.
Yeah.
It's you're asking your body to exert itself more than it really needs to. So by respecting the sleep and your cycles, your sleeping cycles, you won't need to use caffeine. And many people have tried this out, have managed to eliminate caffeine. I know it's a big thing in English-speaking countries, but if you manage to do that, the quality of sleep generally expands. It's amazing, like 100%.
Yeah.
What else, Sarah?
Well, no, I would definitely, I don't bring my phone into my bedroom. I would keep electronics out of the bedroom, keep it cool. I use a different blanket than my partner. He uses a different blanket than I do, just simply because so I can adjust my own temperature as needed.
That's really good. That's a massive thing with the electronics in the room. So no TV, no iPad, no phone. I agree with you 100%. That messes with your brain waves. It's scientifically proven that it actually has impact on the quality of sleep. And we don't figure that out, that's gonna come to us later in life.
Well, and then there's I would say also about sleep hygiene is there are sleep disruptors. And so sugar and alcohol are sleep disruptors. They kind of not only mess with your the chemical makeup, but there's a hormonal disruption. So often what happens is if you have a couple glasses of wine at night, you wake up often at like 4 a.m. and you're like wide awake, not sure why. And I recommend alcohol really disrupts the sleep. And so that would be something to play with. Same with sugar.
Yeah, I agree. And to add on to that, one of the practices that I try to recommend people is not to eat 2 to 3 hours before going to bed. So when your digestive system has the capacity to be like slowing down, and then you go to bed not hungry but not full. So it's not full on working. It needs time so you'll have a better quality of sleep if you go to bed with this space between eating and going to bed. It's extraordinary because we forget that. We kind of like load up, in the evening, and and going through this specific moment of time where it's so emotional and where we are full of anxiety. What's going on? What are we going to do next? How are we going to work? How is the economy going to reflect this situation? We need to kind of slow down. And these are really good steps. What else, Sarah?
Oh my gosh, well, we could do a ton of these, but mostly what we want you to concentrate on is the big three. So really focusing on seasonal and colorful food and whole foods, and concentrating on calm. Try your three pearls throughout the day. Start to invite in more calm and concentrating on sleep. That's the big three from our end.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Sarah. How is it on your side? How are things in the US? You're in the Midwest.
We are, and thank you for asking. It's good. I mean, it's so strange right now in that spring is coming, right? Same as in Portugal, but my inclination is to be outside and to get it, and so it's such a strange time to be indoors as much as we are. I try every day to get out and get a little fresh air in the yard, and as much as I'm able. How about you?
Yeah, Portugal is pretty much on lockdown these past week or two, and it's an extraordinary situation where you have the desire. So spring has all that energy of the blooming, of going outside, of embracing the temperature that's slowly rising, the sun that's shining, and we have to stay inside. So this is kind of the mindset that I'm dealing with, and everybody here is dealing with, and it's a bit tough. It's tough. I've seen really funny situations. People, decking out on their verandas. These cities are kind of Porto and Lisbon. It's all apartments, not much houses with yards. So we're doing the best that we can and taking a deep breath and hopefully having time to rest, which is unique. Having time to cook with your kids. They love it. Set them a task, they'll enjoy it. Having time to bring in calm, and why not teach that to our kids? Why not practice the yoga, the 10-minute yoga, and see how they have fun with it? Of course they'll complain because it's the mum or the father that's bringing this to them. That's part of life, but this stays with them. There's something that they'll grab onto. Cook with them. Understand what is brown rice, what is a vegetable, where it comes from, how you can cut it and make it into a delicious soup. It's an extraordinary moment. It's just a question of us, changing the mindset.
Totally. Well, I'm so glad that we were able to talk today. We're going to talk again, but we'll be sending everyone good vibes during this whole process and just all doing the best that we can.
Yeah. So true. Thank you so much, Sarah, for this wonderful opportunity. It's so extraordinary being here with you. Hope everybody enjoys our 15 minutes of conversation.
Thanks, Anna.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.